Hi, and welcome back to my journey. So as an update, I'm about a week and a half from starting my water titration, part of it. Like I said, some of the medication I'm still taking in pill form. Um, I'll say that last time, like I said, I wasn't willing to make a definitive decision, and I'm still not. But what I will say is that I think it's a lot of this is psychological, and again, something new. And a lot of it is habit, which I think goes to the psychological part of you're used to doing something for so long and then you change it. But also, I think my body is getting used to this new way of coming off the medication. There's times when I've noticed that I think, and this is what I'll say so far. There's 9 times I've noticed I think it's better. I think I can see where, especially different times of the day where I'm like, oh, I think I feel better right now than I would normally and than I have in the past. And there's times that there kind of seems to be a low-lying something, there all the time. More, because I can't, and again, that could just be psychological, that I know that, every day I'm coming down a little bit, But I think it's also, I think my body was just okay, going, okay, a little bit's coming down, a little bit's coming off, a little bit's coming off. And, and there's no, before I was doing the stair step and now we're doing this glide. And again, I think that's just, getting into that and continue to see. I'm still optimistic. Although I'll be honest, right now, it's like my vision's very blurry today. And I've been having some dizzy spells from my neck. But having said that, I've been doing some stretching, like some yoga stuff. And my muscles don't, as I'm at that point right now, a lot of people are where a lot of tension, a lot of muscle fatigue. So, maybe it's just to be expected. And I'm going to but I still want to keep trying to stretch everything out to see if I can help push some of the toxins out of my body. I'm going to go someplace right now that I said I wasn't going to go, and whether I post this video or not, who knows? And that's spiritual awakening. I know I just lost most of you. But for me, I realized that I think for all of us going through this, we didn't ask for it. But maybe this is supposed to be. Because the person that I was, to the extent that I can remember, it's been a very long time. Like I said, I've been doing this for 30 years, but it doesn't matter. I can still see what I look to now. I grew up very religious, which is interesting because my family really wasn't, but I was in church all the time. So I took it very, very seriously. And then I lost that through things that happened in life. My father passing away, a lot of things I was mad at God about and whatever. And now there's this newfound, which I think this is something that, especially anxiety, depression, whatever it is, but especially coming off of these Benzies, it literally just rips you open. You're so exposed and you're so vulnerable, and you literally question everything. Everything. And I don't see that as a bad thing. It's like, before, I think I was very, very rigid in my belief system. And for some people, that works very well for them. And I'm not judging, because that was me. And I see now where I'm actually, for me, it's kind of coming back to religion. And like, if people want to talk about Jesus or, whatever, I'm cool with that, which for the longest time I wasn't. If people want to talk to me about Buddha and whatever, I'm a little more open to that right now, because I have opened up. So it's like, that's kind of where I'm at the moment. Where I want to, like whether you call it prayer. And that's the other thing I realize, if you call it prayer, great. If you call it meditation, whatever's getting you back to that higher piece of yourself, God. Is there divinity in all of us? Are we all a part of God? Are we all God? Are we is there a God? And we are just his children. It opens you up to just, and it, because it, like I said, it tears you open. When you're getting into those times of despair, of just complete, utter, you're crying out and you're hoping that something is there listening. And I've heard lots of people say that they lost all of their faith. So it's not me. I know as I watch this, the one common denominator I see across people's stories is this spiritual evolution. And again, maybe that's part of this. Maybe this is supposed to be happening. I'm not taking any whatever off the medical field and whatever, and what the people are hiding and whatever. And again, I haven't really gone there in any of my videos, but as I've said before, somebody knows. And follow the money. I'll just leave it at that. But at the same time, maybe it's, I do look at things as a blessing. And I think for some, it's because I have to. I wouldn't be sane if I didn't anymore. I have to look at it as not only that this too shall pass, but there's a reason for this. There's a reason. I'm starting to make YouTube channels, and there's not very many people subscribe to me, but I see the views. I know there's people watching. But again, I started this journey for me. And I'm going to continue this journey for me. It's not about my ego, which very much gets in the way of this. It's very hard to get on YouTube and all of a sudden you start to get a couple of subscribers and whatever. It's very hard for your ego to not be there. And also at the same time, it's very hard to say, well, who the hell am I to be on there, telling anybody what they're doing when I'm just trying to figure it out. And most of the time I don't feel like I'm actually doing a very good job of it. But back to the spiritual awakening part. I've actually listened, and admittedly, I've listened to a lot of videos about spiritual awakening. And the side effects, if you will, are very, very similar to what we're going through. People that I've, stories I've heard, things I've had myself. So I think the one thing that I've found, and this is just my takeaway, you don't have to agree with me. In fact, don't. The more people, I want people to comment and not, this is one topic I want people to tell me, other than I need to find Jesus, which, and if you need to post that, that's cool. Because I did. Early in my life, I did. But I think, and I'm not, and again, I don't want to say that because I'm not down. I'm not, if that's the truth, then great. But that's the truth for me growing up in the Western society that I grew up in a basically what we consider a Christian nation in the United States, which is kind of not, what it's opened up in me now is I see how naive that is. When I look back at pictures of the earth and the blue marble, this little rock that we float around on, it's just where I was born. It's the belief systems that were instilled in me from the time I was born. Does that make other people who had the same thing happen to them, whether it was Krishna or Buddha or Jesus or, whatever. And I'm not leaving anybody out just because, I'm Hindu, whatever. I'm not trying to exclude anybody. Does that make them wrong? If God is everywhere and God is love, that's where I'm at right now. I sign off on most of my things, love and light, because I believe God is love. If you want to label it any other way, that's great. If Jesus brings you comfort and light and love, then great. If Buddha does, if just connecting to your higher self, if that's what you call it, brings you love and helps you get through what you're dealing with and helps you become a better person so that we can all make humanity a better place, then I think this spiritual process and this journey that we're on, that we're calling benzodiazepine withdrawal, at least for us, other people call it cancer, other people call it whatever. That's the one thing I've noticed with people who go through things that are very extreme, is the spiritual awakening that they have. And that I think as I've said, I think I've said this out loud before on my videos, is that I believe that by just me going through this is helping somebody. Whether or not I was doing these videos or not, I'm not being, by no means am I putting myself up on a pedestal. From a from the aspect of we're all evolving. There's, to me, this consciousness people call God. I believe, we have Wi-Fi, we have the cloud. I think we all plug into that. I think we all get glimpses of that. I think we all have downloads of, you're sitting there and all of a sudden something will come to you. Where does that come from? Kids that are born that can play Mozart and do whatever and have all these giftings. Where does that come from? And these are just questions I'm asking myself. But as I go through this withdrawal process and getting off these medications, and I think, and eventually I'm going to have to, and as I face my anxieties that got me on these, medications in the first place, it opens me up to know that there's something out there that's been calling to me that's saying, come home. Whatever that is, come home. Come home so you can realize and learn the truth. Whatever that is. I believe it's love. I believe that as Christ, in his teachings in the Bible, as I look back, like I said, I went away from it for a long time, but now I believe that, yes, if you look at children, for the most part, if you watch them play, especially as they're younger, nothing but love. They don't know that something's not possible because they haven't been taught that yet. They don't know to hate. They don't know. We teach all of those things. So even with, and I'm going to continue to say this, I guess, even with benzodiazepine withdrawal, some of the things that we go through, I think, we watch stories, and I'm so guilty of this. And those stories become us. And even my own story. I mean, I have this story that I've been going on now for 30 years. And so I've become my story. And I think the spiritual side, or my higher self, God, whatever you want to call it, has said, no, that's not who you are. You are not, you're not your story. Your story may help other people. It may even help you, and it may serve for guidance and for teaching. But that's not who you are. You're so much more. Your divinity in a human carcass. This is our vehicle to get around. I'm not going to call this part one, but I know this won't be the last time I'm going to talk about spirituality, because it's too universal as I look across and listen to other people's stories. And for myself, every day, I mean, the question that I ask myself just keep getting deeper and deeper and deeper. And yes, there's a gentleman on YouTube called Infinite Waters, and Ralph Smart. Yes, I do listen to you from time to time, and he's kind of where it started, and I've gone on from there to listen to others. Victor Odo, shout out to you. Actually, I don't want to shout out. I mean, there's just so many people, but they're all, what they're doing is they're reflecting their true, authentic self as where they are at that moment. And that's all I'm doing right now, too, is like, I don't have the answers. I'm not going to sit there and preach to anybody and say I do. But it's interesting how this journey is taking me through to explore things that I would have considered demonic, or this or that or whatever. And now I'm open. My mind has just been blown open to, it was kind of like when I went into looking into holistic healing, and holistic doctors and naturopathy and whatever, because I was willing to try anything. And in that case, it was for my daughter. I was looking for myself, but it was for her. And maybe I'll get into that at one time, because my daughter's amazing and healthy and whatever, but I credit it to the fact that I was blown so wide open and willing to try anything that I realized, to me at that time, I realized modern medicine and Western medicine was doing her absolutely no good. And I was willing to try anything. And we did, and we're better for it, in my opinion. I think my daughter would agree. And honey, if you ever watch one of these videos, I love you with all my heart. But like I said, it just blows you so open. It makes you become so raw, so vulnerable, which I think is what I think that strips us down to the true nature of us, of who we actually are. And then we get to build up from there. So I think for me, as this process has torn me down, the name of my channel, Learning to Let Go, and I'll do a video on that, because what am I letting go of? Everything. Everything. It's forced me to let go of, or it's forcing me to let go of everything. And I'm doing it kicking and screaming. But I think it was supposed to happen. And the sooner I learn these lessons, the sooner I can move on from this. And even looking right now at the time frame, I don't know that. And I think that's the spiritual side of me. There's a voice in my head that says, you can believe that. And whatever you believe, I think I've come to that conclusion. Again, this is just for me. What you believe will be your reality. If I believe that this is going to suck and drag out, and I'm going to be everything that I've seen on videos and people's stories, if I buy into that and I believe that, then that's what will come to me. If I believe that it's going to be difficult, but rewarding and challenging, but at the end of the day, I am helping the collective, the entire collective, by going through what I'm going through. And when I get to the other side, and I'm not looking for a destination at this point in my life, I can't do that anymore. It's too overwhelming. But as I do that, as I get closer, I allow other people. There's a quote that I love that quote, and I'm gonna do a whole video on that quote just because I love it so much. But just the bottom line of it is, by me being authentic and allowing myself to be authentic, it allows somebody else to do the same and allows them to heal. By me facing my fears, not well, but by me doing it and just hanging in there, and by you doing the same, there's somebody else out there that's being touched, whether they hear you, see you or not. I believe we're all connected. Yeah, I know that's a pretty prevalent thing in our whatever right now, is this whole unity connected thing that's going around. Some people call it New Age and whatever, and actually, even looking out this window, I'm starting to, I've never had the experience. I people with near-death experiences, whatever, and how when they come back, that we are connected to everything: the blades of grass, the flowers, the trees, the sky. Every single thing in this universe is connected. We're all one, and I'm starting to get glimpses of that. And I have this journey to thank for that. And so do you. And I think the more we focus on those things, and the more that we focus on how we're actually helping other people by going through what we're going through, it makes it a little bit easier to go through what we go through. For my family, you can think about it directly in people that you're touching directly around you, negatively and positively. But I think everything works out for a reason. Again, it's another new belief that I've only started in the last year or so to really start to try to integrate into my belief system, that everything happens for a reason. Everything is working to good. I think that's even scriptural. Again, my scriptural, and somewhere in yours. I think at the root of every single religion, and I think maybe that's the issue I had always was religion. But at the base of every one of them is love and servitude to others. I welcome any comments. Like this video if you've liked it. That would actually help me quite a bit, because right now I'm still at a place where, as all of you, any little bit of support is extremely appreciated, and it goes a long way. Anyway, thank you all, and God bless each and every one of you. This isn't easy, but it's going to be worth it. I believe that. And I guess that's really what I'm trying to get across on this video is I think this spiritual awakening, the spiritual journey, whatever people want to call it, is going to be well worth it in the end. God bless. Thank you. Love and light to every one of you. I'll talk to you again.